Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? I can't hear anything that's being said, if anything is being said.
No, I hear you, Sarah, but I also can't hear them. I think we're still muted.
Okay, thank you.
We're here, y'all. We're just getting our ducks in a row. Here. All right. Everybody else is ready. We'll get going with the wastewater treatment plant budget. Alan,
Yes.
what do you got?
A budget for you again, Randy. How's everybody been?
Terrible. How are you?
The weather treating you.
Weather. Storms everywhere, even when the sun is shining.
Which one do you want to do first? We have two budgets for you. 8130 and 8121.
Let's do 8121.
Okay. That's the pump stations. Yeah. You want a narrative on this?
Yes, please. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Written there.
We always do.
Highlighted the budget meeting.
No, I'm good. There's not much changes in it, Randy.
Yeah, it looks like the biggest thing is your hospital medicine insurance.
Yes.
We can see this, other equipment. An ATV for driving around, out on the property.
No, I wish.
What's that for?
8121?
Yeah. 5211, other equipment. There wasn't anything on that line last year. And it's 11,221 this story.
Oh, it's a home pump. It's a
Okay.
pump for one of the pump stations, backup pump that went bad this year.
Okay.
It's wrote in there what it is,
How often do those, need replacing?
when they burn up. Well, I mean, it's, you know, the rags that people are flushing down the toilets today plug the pumps up and it burns them up. Well, it's all the new wipes that are out there. So, they don't, I mean, they don't disintegrate like toilet paper does, so.
Okay, yeah, Mike.
You have a pretty steep reduction of vehicle fuel.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at it, fuel prices are coming down, so.
Okay, but you're not driving anywhere once you're switching to electric
No,
cars.
no.
You sure that those prices aren't gonna go up?
Not entirely sure. We we look at the usage today, we look at the trending, we look at the forecast for the following year, we really come up with that budget number.
Mhm.
And it's not perfect, obviously, but our best estimate.
I mean, we were down this year on the budget that we had on it, so
Mhm.
we didn't use all
Good here. Let's see, any other questions on that part of, the WWTP budget?
Yeah, your service contracts went up, but your contractual services went down.
That's a pretty fixed number of service contracts, 471. I mean, backflow preventers, lift station, fire extinguishers, the alarm, the pump station, smart cover is what we use to monitor them.
Okay.
And then
Where you jumped to the second half then, right?
That might have been on 8130 and 8121, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
yes. But that was the question. And of course, the answer to that question is that we are not doing creek sampling this year.
Okay.
That, monitoring on the creek, so. That was 50 grand, that's why we dropped to 50,000.
But everybody was done with 8121, right? No other questions?
It's hard to follow this because it goes right in, it's not broken, it's not separated. I had a problem, I had to call John today. So,
Just look at the first column, Alan.
I know,
First
John.
column.
I
It
know,
says 8121, it says 81.
I know, John. I would have liked it broken in two different pages, that's what I said to him.
I'm just curious, multi-peril insurance, that's not something that we've seen with other.
Yes, that would be,
That is an allocation of the overall city's property and liability insurance to the treatment plant.
Okay,
The reason why it is, well, because other departments are all within a general fund, and the sewer fund you have to allocate out.
Is that something new?
No, so what's new is you see a bump. You'll see a bump from 175 up to the 220. And that's just because the insurance, when you see when we get to the city clerk budget, you'll see the city's liability and property insurance in the general funds went up $300,000. So you'll see a bump here as well.
Just the way it is, right?
It's based on our claims and experience and other factors, so, yeah.
we'll see.
and then is the other equipment line,
I'm sorry.
the other equipment line there also went up 60,000, is that same sort of thing?
So we're on 8130?
Yeah, it's at the
Okay.
top of this sheet here at least.
211. Stop it, the second, yeah.
Instead of bonding it this year, or putting it in, we put it in the budget. Last year, there was nothing in there.
Okay, right, yeah.
Now, you care to elaborate just on what's in there?
Sure. The tooth rack is for the primary tanks, the chain filler blocks and plates, that's all to rebuild the plates and chains on that constantly turn in the tanks
Mhm.
that are wearing out. BDP pump is a pump for the GBT. It's a gravity belt thickener that's at the plant, and the activated carbon is to change the carbon for the odor control unit at the plant. We do it all in-house.
How many employees do you keep doing?
There's 10 now. We filled all the positions last year that were given to us. And if you notice too, on 8121, there's a promotional, we're gonna try to promote one of the persons to a mechanic position out in the pump stations. We have a bunch of new guys, young guys, that we're trying to, one of them's going to school, we hired the operator trainee, so he's working out really well. So, really, he's working out really well.
Drew and Sarah,
That's leading to my next question. Seminars and training, let's see one.
Yes.
Although I think it's.
So they're all new employees down there, so we have to train them, they have to be trained, they're going to OSHA 10, and a couple of us are gonna go to OSHA 20. Training,
Then there was a deduction, natural gas, fuel, vehicle,
yeah, again,
yeah,
it was the usage that we looked at with John
yeah.
this year, and so.
You guys are on a regular route though, I mean, it's kind of standard from day to day though.
As far as looking,
the gas and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
well, it all depends, you know, you asked me how much leaching we're gonna make, it's all on the weather. You know, if it's this weather right here, you don't use any heat, you know what I mean, so, yes. Yep.
Sarah?
Yes, I just had a question about the regular pay in 8130. I noticed that had gone down. Is that because there are new employees who are at a lower pay grade than some of the people who are retiring? It's just the top line on that. I'm looking at the regular budget. I don't have your handout. I'm looking at the page 118.
Sarah, the 2025 number it's higher than the 24 number, but it's less than.
Less than the request. Okay.
Requested number.
Right.
Okay, thank you. That explains it.
Hi, Sarah,
Hi.
how are you?
Getting better. I was sick over the weekend, but I'm getting better now. I'll be there tomorrow in person.
At the plant?
Yeah, I'll come visit you at the sewer plant.
You are one of the few that did come to see me, I gotta say.
I thought it was very beautiful.
You're one of the few,
Not different than it used to be.
yes.
It looks like.
And we're also doing a new study on the plant, so everybody understands. We're looking at, re-looking at the headworks. Time Bond's doing a study right now on, we talked to you this last year about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the works of doing it right now with John Schulteis, myself. And the operating staff down there, Ed's informed about it, so.
It's the same outfit that did the upgrade. Yeah. It's a good outfit.
So it looked like you zeroed out from 5481 to 5498. That is absolutely nothing. Yeah. So
That's sludge.
There's just no change.
there's no change.
No change.
Right. All the ones that don't have a dollar value and have no change.
Yeah, the first column is the 24 number, the second column is 25 number, and the third column is just the change from year over year.
Right. Whether it's positive or negative. Spaces, hyphen, it's just no change in it.
And then that very last line, at least in here, the interest in earnings, making $35,000 over last year, or looking to.
That's me. I mean, I just look at the cash balances and the changes in the interest rates, year over year to forecast. That way.
Okay. Any other questions?
We didn't get to hand out my other budget to you.
Hand out your other budget then. What are you doing, just sitting
We went
there?
right on through everything. If anybody wants them, they're here. It's a narrative to show you where we spend the money in this department, a little different than what Ed does. But my card is on these, if anybody has any questions.
Move on to the last thing, which is capital request.
Okay, that's what
Get ready to go.
Yep, so we put on there a new pickup truck for the plant, and the big part of that is the UV lights. They're ultraviolet disinfection. They're basically outdated. We can't get parts for them. So we're also probably 15 years old. So, and it's been very good to us,
Yes,
so,
especially down there to keep it going.
yeah, I mean, you have to have it. It's it's mandated, so.
what are we looking at?
The capital request.
Capital request. I'm on the bottom of the capital.
It was just a budget.
Oh, yeah, it's not with what I mined out.
That's an extra copy.
Yep,
Who's gonna do the UV?
Just hold on, that
Who's gonna do the UV lights?
because it's all their new programming and it's a new HMI screen. It's all new racks, bulbs, hydraulic lines that are all starting to crack that we were looking at pricing out. It's actually gonna be, it'll pay for itself, like I was telling John and Ed and the mayor, because we buy so many bulbs here, you don't see the bulbs in there this year. You don't see the balances in there this year. Balances are $900 a piece, bulbs are probably $350, $360 a piece. We buy 100 a year. So when we do this, we'll have all brand new stuff, it'll last longer. So it's a retrofit to your ultraviolet disinfection system is what it'll be.
And then
They came down, I'm sorry, they came down, talked to us, gave us a presentation, and we presented it to Ed and Mayor with it. And also John was involved in a little bit, so guys.
And the pickup, is that gonna be electric, hybrid, all hydrogen? Ferry desk.
And is that just a regular pickup off the OGS?
Yes,
list, or-
absolutely. It's a 3/4 ton or a 1 ton. It'll be equipped with a plow and a sander. We plow, all the park lots downtown. We do the police station, and we also help out with the roads downtown. If it's a bad storm, then Ryan will call us in to plow like Pincock or something. So we'll have 4 plows. 3 of the trucks will be equipped, with salters.
Back to Bob's question, the 250 is just for the equipment, not for the install?
No, that's installed.
Oh, okay.
That's installed. They were pretty good with us. They came down, presented it to us, came in.
And the procurement, you procured that as a single source, or how did we?
For the UV?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't go out, that's a sole source. Trojan UV out of Canada,
Okay.
so that there is no way out around it.
Yeah, yeah.
Town of Ulster, if anybody knows Vinnie, Town of Ulster, they kind of went off on a generic brand for ultraviolet light, and they actually bought our system. They returned the system, and it didn't work. DEC basically were gonna put them into a consent order because they couldn't pass their people. And everybody, it doesn't kill the bacteria, it sterilizes it, so it can't reproduce.
Can you use that on deer?
They eat your shrubs?
Not mine, that's, well, where you are.
Oh my God, they're so. I talk to them, they're there every night. They're
I'm
here
not
tonight.
afraid of anybody up
No.
there, you know.
No. I got koi dogs now. That's even scarier. They're big too.
Alan Lynch, the deer whisperer.
Bonding.
Yes.
Yeah, we're looking to bond both of them.
At least
We have older pickup trucks. Actually, one of them is in the shop right now, and I haven't spoken to Ed about it. It needs a transmission, so we're gonna look at how old it is. It's a 150, it's a half-ton pickup, not a 3/4 ton pickup, and we're gonna have me until, that was something that I wanted to call him about today, and then he called me back right before the meeting, so, it's $3,000 transmission to put in the truck, so we gotta look and see if it's worth doing, so. Because we really didn't budget for it this year, last year, and it's not in this budget, it just happened this week. So, we don't have a lot of pickups, there's only 4 pickups at the plant for everybody, so.
Right? Anything else?
Anything else?
It's good, thank you.
Nope. Appreciate what you do for us, Al.
All right, man. Anytime, anybody want to stop down, I know Sarah came down. Nice weather.
It's new stuff, we saw the new stuff, right?
Yeah, well, the new project is 3/4 done, that's more than that, probably 95% done. So it all worked out good this year, new blowers, I don't know if you want to hear about it. If you want to see them, they're energy efficient blowers. Everything seemed to work, everything is working really, really well. We made permit all throughout the whole year, with permit change. So it worked out very well. That's why we're looking at the next project, which would be that it works to.
Great there.
All right?
Thank you.
All right, guys, appreciate it. Have a good night, enjoy the weather. See you next year. I hope it rains soon. Take care.
No, we're just getting warmed up. That was the,
Good evening, everyone.
that was
For
first.
those of you who may or may not know, it's Maureen Lopez and Ryan Coogan, my deputy.
All right, what's the big story?
Can't get there from here. It's not snowing, so we're in good shape. So is there anything you guys, standing out for you guys that you want to discuss, or do we just kind of want to roll right through this?
Let's start rolling.
Okay. Randy, you want to narrate any of this, or?
No, I'm assuming there hasn't been much change in your department.
No, there hasn't been a whole lot of change. There's some overtime money moved around. We had some personnel loss, won't be, filled for next year. Everything else is, so hospital medical, there's, changes in there that are, I have no control over that.
Right.
Contractual things, again, with CSEA, I have no say over what's happening there. Everything else, we kind of pretty well went through this budget and thinned it out a little bit from last year's budget.
So, how are you feeling in terms of the loss of personnel? Have you, are there positions where you've lost somebody, you filled them?
So there were some positions that were available that we hadn't filled for the lack of finding people to fill them. And they kind of went by the wayside. We still have 2 positions available that we will hopefully be hiring for in December. That will kind of help us out a little bit. Overall, it's, we're managing. More is always better, but we're getting by.
Can you get your electrician?
We did hire an electrician. Recently, our carpenter retired, and we're in the search for someone for that position right now as well.
Now, the dues and seminars, that's a little low. Do you get them free now or from OSHA?
So some of the stuff we get from CSEA training, we just had our new insurance carrier meet with us recently, and they actually offer training that is free to us. So we're looking into doing something with them, hopefully for next year, early in the spring. John, I don't know if you're aware of that or not. But
No, I wasn't.
yeah, so they actually offer.
They didn't offer my department, but
Okay.
that's.
So any kind of safety training, confined space, trench shoring, the different things, they actually have that in-house. They have it, one of their departments is for that specifically. I guess they figure if they can help train us better, there'll be less instances of less insurance issues.
There's 2 areas, just as you're going through too, just like 2 larger non-personnel related changes are when you get to about halfway through Department 5630, the city had a 5-year contract with the county to consolidate the bus service. That contract expired June 30th of 24. So you'll see a reduction in contract services, 5630, 5472. You'll see 112,500 to 0.
Yeah.
We're also being reimbursed from the county for their use of the garage. So that comes off the table for next year. And then on the following page, 8160, 5472, we did receive notice of a substantial increase in the tipping fee from Resource Recovery Agency. So that's a $120,000 jump year over year, and that's outside of our control. So,
I can't believe that in 5 years since
I know.
we did that. See, like we just did it. Wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty exciting project we were doing.
Yeah.
I just had a quick question, just to
Sure.
follow up on what you were just saying, John.
Yes.
Those contracted services that we're no longer going to be using, are those going to be replaced, or do they need to be replaced? And is that somewhere in the budget?
No, with the county, we had, part of our agreement was to pay them over 5 years to integrate the bus service into the county.
Okay.
The payment discontinues after 5 years. There's no further payments due.
Okay.
Michael, you had a question?
Yeah, it seems like across some of your divisions that your vehicle maintenance costs went down. Is it because you have newer vehicles or?
So we do have some newer vehicles which did offset some of that money. I'm not totally sold on where we're at with the maintenance, because there are several divisions that are going to require more maintenance because of the age of the vehicles and the inability to get them in a timely fashion.
Mhm.
So it's taking us almost 2 years to get new vehicles now. We're, we're kind of threw the dice on it a little bit and, trying to evaluate what we had, so we're pretty comfortable that we're kind of set on our maintenance, but it's, anything can go wrong at any time. And with these vehicles, I mean, everything costs $1,000 or more. There's no more, $50, $60 stuff. Rear end goes out of a truck, it's $10,000. The transmission is $30,000. The motor is $50,000. So it's all these things that we're just kind of, some of them we feel comfortable enough about, the others we're just waiting for a shoe to drop.
Okay. I have a question.
So go ahead, Mike, keep going.
So it wasn't in your requested budget, but it's in the recommended budget, $20,000 for tree maintenance. But now we have a forester. So is this a question for you or a question for John?
You want to talk to that?
We had an account that got closed out and we want to get.
Okay.
We had two different lines because we have a tree maintenance technician in DPW who, within that line, street cleaning, we had a tree maintenance budget. We also had an additional budget in our 1625 for dealing with trees on city property, city-owned houses. And those two tree lines got combined into the same account.
Okay.
And I think this is the first year too, we actually created an account specifically called tree maintenance,
Right.
right?
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
And I guess out of curiosity, I see vehicle fuel went down. That's probably the only one I've seen go down. Are you driving less? I mean.
No, I'm just playing the market.
Really? Yeah.
Just kind of, wishful thinking possibly that the costs are gonna go down a little bit, but
Well, remember, our trend this year was down as well because we didn't really have a solid winter.
Right.
So January, February, March of last year, we were out a handful of
Oh,
times.
okay,
Significant reduction in fuel usage. this
yeah,
year.
absolutely, yeah.
So I'm trying to follow that into next year's budget.
Okay.
Yeah, you're at, just to give you an idea where we're at, we're through September, we're at 100,000. So we're on pace for, maybe 135 this year, right? Something in that.
so when we were proposing this year's budget last year, the prices were so much higher, so, but they've been dropping fairly regularly, a few cents here and there over the last year.
That's kind of quite a bit. I mean, in 2022, we're at $208,000, down to 153 last year. Be down under that this year.
Sarah?
Yeah, just a quick question. I noticed that across some of the divisions, the regular pay was less. And is that because you're down employees next year? Is that part of the reason?
Yeah, some of the people that were not filling the positions, and we have one that's going to go away due to retirement that will not be filled this coming year.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I do have one more.
Yeah, Mike.
So, maintenance of building line, you asked for $10,000 for that, you got, nothing. Is that for your garage or?
Which line are you on?
That would be buildings and grounds line 444.
1625?
1625.
That was just, did we combine that in with something else?
I'm trying, I gotta take a little bit.
Maureen shaking her head, yeah.
That was 5443.
5443.
I believe that combined with construction.
Okay, yeah.
So you feel though that you have enough resources to maintain the buildings?
I don't want to say more is always better, but it's the unknown. So we're always playing the unknown game with everything. You know, like heater goes down, or, you know, we got a leaky roof. Anything as simple as that can be $10,000, $12,000, you know. So we try to assess what we have and make an educated decision. We're trying to trim some of the budget down to make it worthy. That's where we go.
Okay, thank you.
Some of the buildings are old.
Yeah, they have to be approaching the end of their lifespan, right?
Well, that's a loaded question. Yeah, some of them are fairly old, but they've had roofs put on several of the buildings, within the last 10 years. And the structure themselves is good. We have one building that's, next to our sanitation department, that's gonna be revamping coming up shortly. And that one's, you know, there's gonna be some demolition involved and then rebuilding something in its place.
Yeah.
It's good.
Thank you, very nice
Yeah,
job.
thank you. It looks
You
good.
want to do capital?
Then we got to do capital.
Yeah.
3,700,000,000. SUV.
Okay, so for the SUV, we are replacing a vehicle that our safety officer is currently driving, which is, I believe, a 2007 Jeep. This will be an electric vehicle.
What's happening with the old one?
That'll be auctioned off. Are you guys good with that, or you just keep going?
Do you go through, the life, does this position's vehicle go through its life pretty quick? Are they on the road a lot?
They are on the road quite frequently, yeah, so anytime we're out doing any kind of, you know, any paving, any construction, he's typically out there, you know, make sure guys are doing the right thing, check the traffic, check and make sure everybody's got their hard hats and vests on.
So he hasn't stopped moving for like 3 months now, right?
He stays pretty busy. Other days, he's also involved with, you know, training, setting up trainings, helping with that. We're trying to get him trained up to help take over the drug and alcohol testing program, which Ryan is currently operating, just to give him a little bit more time.
This is how old is, you said 7? 07?
07, I believe, yes. So it's definitely a usage. The next one is 10-wheel large dump truck, plow and assaulter, which is replacing 2012 vehicle that has seen its useful life. And same with the wheel loader. This current wheel loader I'm replacing is one we typically have at our salt shed. So that gets a lot of use. And that's been, I think, almost 20 years old now.
So these are all new vehicles, right?
For the capital, these will be new, yes.
Lead time, how much lead time on a 10-wheel dump?
Probably a year and a half now.
Something.
The Packers were a little bit more. They were about 2 years to get them. Some of these trucks are also, we don't know what direction the electric vehicles are going. And there was a lot of the dealers were unable to supply the diesel vehicles without first selling electric. So for every 10, I think for every 6 or 8, 7 vehicles, whatever it is, diesel vehicles, they have to sell one electric. And a lot of the dealers are saying, hey, I don't have anybody that even wants an electric vehicle. So I know that's going through some kind of legislation up in Albany, and it might get postponed a bit for a couple of years. But it just kind of slows the process down, because, you know, it creates a backlog with all the other municipalities and private contractors So, you stand in line and wait.
Vehicles and equipment is also being bonded, right?
Right, so there will be we will request a bond ordinance for whatever the finance committee recommends, for approval. As we do every year, we'll fund these out of the general sewer fund accounts. Typically, we would then look to borrow the money next August, for what we've spent. To the extent that there's fund balance, and if we are over, that fund balance, we may look to, not borrow and fund some of the available cash on hand, but at least having a ordinance in place gives us the financial flexibility to go either way with it, but at least a plan on borrowing for it, more conservative approach. So there's no guarantee that we'll have the available cash or fund balance right next year or so.
All right, anybody else? Shots across the bow, anything?
Come on, one last shot, one last question.
Got it, I'm ready, I got dressed up for
Pretty clever. You cut a lot.
this. There was some, so we may have to revisit it sometime next year, if we have issues with the vehicle maintenance and, we may have to come back to make some budget transfers and contingency stuff. Same thing, we have a bad winter, we use more salt than we would normally do, what we anticipated, we may need something for that as well.
So last year's, winter materials, it's pretty good.
Yeah, we did okay with that, we currently have an almost full salt shed, right?
Yeah, we're about 3/4 right now, but we'll fill up before we get into it.
All right, so the trucks will start hauling this month sometime.
And there's nothing, I remember in years past, there used to be problems getting salt, but doesn't appear to be a problem anymore.
Not now, no.
I mean, it just in general, just to, kind of continue with what Ed was saying, not just his department's budget, but, all the city budgets. You'll see that when you get into like the .4 accounts, the contracted services of those nature, those budgets are gonna be slightly less conservative than they have in the past. We've had some positive budget performance over the last several years, so we know we have a little bit of room to whittle that number down. Obviously, there was budgetary pressure this year, so you'll see where you'll see where the request is one number, the recommended is a different number. Between the departments and the mayor and myself trying to keep the budget as tight as we can, while still giving the departments what we think they need for next year. So it'll be a recurring theme.
Good job.
Might need to invest in some mops, so it's looking like this coming winter is going to be wetter than nowhere.
Well, ice is no bargain.
No, any little bit of ice, you use as much salt as you would on, 6 to 8 inches of snow. Sometimes, the smaller storms sometimes create more, because when it's snowing, you tend not to put salt out while the snow is falling. Every time you get a wet or icy situation, you're just constantly throwing salt.
If people don't understand, you should stay home when it's icy.
What are you looking at me for? I'm just stay home for any reason. All right, thank you, Ed.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
That's general for beautiful, so.
Is there anything else? Tonight?
Nothing on there.
And as usual, if you'll pass on to everybody who works in your department our deep appreciation for the work that they do, because I know that often that they don't get, direct kudos from the public at large, but we know what you all go through. And so I hope you will pass it on.
We will do so.
As they say, the true first responders.
Oh, yeah.
Without these guys, nobody goes anywhere.
Right?
You could say that when a fireman's not there. All right, thank you, guys.
All right.
See you next time.
Good night, good night. Then we'll call this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
See what, make stuff up.
It's nice day.
All right. Thank you, Alyssa. We're done.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.